Benjamin Netanyahu, born 21 October 1949, is an Israeli politician who has been serving as the Prime Minister of Israel since December 2022. Having previously held the office from 1996 to 1999 and again from 2009 to 2021. He is the chairman of the Likud party. Netanyahu is the longest tenured prime minister in the country's history, having served for a total of over 16 years. He is also the first prime minister to have been born in Israel after its declaration of independence. Born in Tel Aviv to secular Jewish parents, Netanyahu was raised in Jerusalem and for a time also in Philadelphia in the United States. He returned to Israel in 1967 to join the IDF. He became a team leader in the Sayeret Matkal Special Forces and took part in several missions, achieving the rank of captain before being honorably discharged. After graduating from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Netanyahu became an economic consultant for the Boston Consulting Group. He moved back to Israel in 1978 to found the Yonatan Netanyahu Anti-Terror Institute. From 1984 to 1988, Netanyahu was permanent representative of Israel to the United Nations. Netanyahu rose to prominence after being elected as the chairman of Likud in 1993, becoming the leader of the opposition. In the 1996 election, Netanyahu beat Shimon Peres, becoming the first Israeli prime minister elected directly by popular vote, and its youngest ever. Netanyahu and Likud were heavily defeated in the 1999 election by Ehud Barak's One Israel alliance, and Netanyahu chose to retire from politics entirely, entering the private sector. Netanyahu later returned to politics and served as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Finance under Ariel Sharon. During the latter position, he initiated reforms of the Israeli economy that led to significant growth before ultimately resigning over disagreements regarding the Gaza disengagement plan. Netanyahu returned to the leadership of Likud in December 2005 after Sharon stepped down to form a new party. He was the leader of opposition from 2006 to 2009. After the 2009 election, Netanyahu formed a coalition government with other right-wing parties and was sworn in as prime minister for a second time. He went on to lead Likud to victory in the 2013 and 2015 elections. A period of political deadlock ensued after three consecutive elections in 2019 and 2020 failed to produce a government, which was solved after a coalition rotation agreement was reached between Netanyahu and centrist Blue and White Alliance's Benny Gantz. The coalition collapsed in December 2020 before the rotation could take place, and a new election was held in March 2021. In his penultimate government, Netanyahu led Israel's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the 2021 Israel-Palestine crisis. In June 2021, after Naftali Bennett formed a government with Yair Lapid, Netanyahu was removed from the premiership, becoming opposition leader for the third time, before returning as prime minister again after forming a coalition with right-wing parties after the 2022 election. Netanyahu and his government coalition partners pursued wide-ranging judicial reforms. The judicial reform efforts were met with polarized reaction, with opponents of a judicial reform holding mass protests across the country over the course of many months. On 7 October 2023, Israel suffered a deadly attack by Hamas, triggering the 2023 Israel-Hamas war. Due to the Israeli government's failure to anticipate the attack, Netanyahu has been criticized by opponents for presiding over Israel's biggest intelligence failure in 50 years. Netanyahu made his closeness to Donald Trump, a personal friend since the 1980s, central to his political appeal in Israel from 2016. During Trump's presidency, the United States recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, recognized the Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and brokered the Abraham Accords, a series of normalization agreements between Israel and various Arab states. Netanyahu has faced international criticism over his decades-long policy as prime minister of expanding Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank deemed illegal under international law. In 2019, Netanyahu was indicted on charges of breach of trust, bribery, and fraud following a 3-year investigation, due to which he relinquished all his ministry posts other than the prime minister position.